And no matter how you spend or invest your money, you want to make wise decisions with it. And the best way to do that is, of course, to gather as much information as possible. So here to make sure that you are asking the right questions ahead of those money moves, retirement expert Cory Sickles of Safe Harbor. Good to see you, Cory.
Good to be here, Robin.
All right, there's a list of questions to consider, and we're going to go through this. The first one you say is to ask, what is your investment objective? What does that mean?
And I think that's one of the most important because, you know, when you come in and meet with us, we have to kind of understand, are you more interested in growth? Are you income, or are you trying to maybe preserve, or a combination of the three?
Okay.
Because one of the things that we do is we customize a solution for you, and so we really need to understand what you're really trying to do or what your main goal is.
Right. Are you saving for retirement, or are you saving for a vacation?
Exactly.
You got to kind of look at that.
Yep.
Okay. And next, this is probably in line with that. What is the investment time frame? Right.
That's exactly right. Yeah. You know, if all of a sudden, if we want to know if maybe 2 years from now you want to buy a house.
Yeah.
So when we start investing your money, we want to make sure that it's liquid. Maybe it's not invested in something that's risky. So it's we want to understand what your short, your middle, and your long-term goals are, and that's how we can actually then again tailor a solution for you as well.
And a big part of how you tailor really everything is based on somebody's risk, right? And how comfortable they are.
That's exactly right. So of course you can always go to our website at safeharboroh.com. Click our risk assessment so we can get a good idea of what your risk is. But let's face it, as you kind of go through life, you're going to become more and more conservative. So you want to make sure on an annual basis, at least, when we meet with our clients, we might tailor that. Today you're more focused on growth. 5 or 10 years from now, hey, retirement's around the corner.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you're preserving what you have.
Okay, something else that we all need to know is, what are the fees and expenses? And I know we've talked about this because people don't usually ask, or they ask and don't really think about what number that equates to.
That's
right?
Exactly right. We try to be transparent, and I think hopefully most advisors are. But you need to understand, if I put you in X product, what's that cost? If I put you in this type of product, what does that cost? And overall, you want to know what your overall cost is, because that can have a big impact on your true rate of return. But it's just kind of like you want to know the fees, and more importantly, though, hopefully you understand what products we're actually putting you into as well, just from an education standpoint.
I was going to say, because there's a lot of terms out there, or a lot of things that people may think they know what it is, but they don't. And like you said, you mentioned, and this is kind of the next one, how liquid is that investment? And that can be a make or break for people if they need the money or don't need it, right?
That's exactly right. You don't want to all of a sudden find out that, I need a certain amount of money to go purchase that house or that vacation home or whatever else, and all of a sudden you find out you have surrender fees and things like that, or you're invested in something and it's down 20%, because it was invested in 2022. So it's very important that you understand that. So the more that we know, the better situation we can put you in. So when that time does happen, the money is liquid to you when you do need it, because that's the most important time.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to say, oh, you have to wait a year until you can get that house.
Right.
That's not going to work. Okay, let's talk about this, and this is a big one always, and that's the tax implications of the investment.
That's exactly right. So, when we look at your overall portfolio, there's three things that you can be invested in, right? You can be invested in IRAs, 401ks. You can be invested in a Roth IRA, which would be tax-free, and then you can also just have a brokerage account. You want to be diverse in all three. You don't want to, and a lot of times what we see is a lot of people are maybe more heavy oriented on the IRA side, and all that means to you is, when you retire and you start taking money out, you're going to be taxed on that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So the earlier that you can, we can work with you, we're going to make sure that everything's not going to be taxed when you go into retirement, because let's face it, taxes they're not going to go down.
Yeah.
If anything, they're going to go up. And I'm a firm believer it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And especially that's so important in retirement.
Yeah, because that can make and break the difference on what you're taking out each month, what you're doing, and
Exactly
you don't even
right.
realize until you're in the position to say, oh, I should have done that Roth 20 years ago, right?
Exactly.
And look at it.
Yeah, and one of the things that if I ask you what you want to make, most people are going to say, I want $75,000. They don't say $75,000 gross. They say $75,000 net. And that's the most
Yeah.
important part.
Okay, and that too, you often say too, people will look at like, well, I don't need as much to live when I retire, but you find that's not always the case.
It's really not.
It's never the case,
80
really.
to 90% of my clients need to they'll be in the same tax bracket that while they're working and in retirement.
Okay.
And let's face it, it's going to go up.
It's going to go up. All right. So I want to let people know, he mentioned the website, safeharboroh.com. They have 2 locations. You can go in, meet with Cory and his team. They'll go through all those questions, kind of
Right.
get an idea of what you're looking for. Always complimentary, no risk for that consultation. So you really have nothing to lose. Cory, thank you.
Thank you, Robin.